Hello les gars, comment ça va? Ça fait longtemps que j'ai pas fait de live sur YouTube. C'est une surprise, en plus je fais le matin. J'en profite parce que d'ici une heure, j'aurai un live que je vais poster sur X. Voilà, je me débrouille un peu avec ce que j'ai. Voilà, je filme avec mon téléphone, c'est parfait. C'est parfait, c'est parfait, c'est parfait, c'est parfait. Donc en fait, je suis tombée sur cette femme parce que je regarde en ce moment beaucoup les Facebook Reels. Et cette femme, apparemment, du nom de Candace Owens, a trouvé des preuves comme quoi que notre première dame, Madame Brigitte Macron, serait un homme. Un peu comme à la saga Barack Obama et sa femme Michel Obama. Donc on va regarder, on va écouter le sous-titre en anglais, mais je vais faire en sorte qu'il est en français. Voilà, comme ça, ce sera plus facile pour tout le monde. Parce que j'ai vu qu'il y avait une collègue... voilà, donc j'ai vu qu'il y avait une collègue qui elle a mis un 10 sous-titres pour que tout le monde puisse connaître à peu près les langues les plus populaires du monde. Voilà. Donc, on va commencer la lecture et puis on va commenter au fur et à mesure. N'oubliez pas de vous abonner, liker, commenter et mettre une pièce si le projet vous plaît. C'est parti.
You have no idea. Just an hour ago, our new website, CandaceOwens.com, which we launched in part so we could live stream just this sort of content, underwent a very aggressive DDoS attack from France. Just last week, by the way, the media tried to paint me adjacent to
J'aime trop parce qu'à l'introduction, on la voit toute petite en train de chanter, jouer. Elle met une photo, elle est petite et elle maintenant. Continue.
Shooter, I'm not kidding. Almost this last-ditch pathetic DDoS attack on my character sent around the world. And of course, there is the legal threat that arrived to me from Élysée Palace. I guess my question is, what is everybody so afraid of? It certainly cannot be a lie that has warranted this type of panic. Welcome at long last to an incredible series that we've put together for you, right here on Candace.
Alors, puis là, il y aura son introduction. On la voit petite, c'est chou, j'adore. Elle est là. Elle s'est mariée avec un white, les meufs. Elle s'est mariée avec un white. Candace, voilà.
All right, you guys. So this episode really is meant to be just an introduction to introduce really English, the English-speaking world to what has been going on.
Comme j'aurais aimé avoir une vidéo de moi petite, mais vas-y, je les parle pas. Vas-y, on continue.
In France, because really, we have no idea. We have had no idea. So let's just start at a place that we can all agree on, okay? Receiving a legal letter from a sitting president of a foreign country is extraordinary. So extraordinary that it may have never happened before in human history, okay? A year ago, when I said that I would stake my entire professional career on the fact that Brigitte Macron, the current First Lady of France, was born a man, there were many people...
Voilà, donc elle affirme que Brigitte Macron est un homme. Donc maintenant, elle va donner des preuves. Maintenant, on attend de voir.
Who did not believe me because that just sounds crazy. But even those people, thanks to Emmanuel Macron's strongly worded letter, which he had his legal team put together and ask me not to publicize, are now starting to pay a little bit of attention. Take this comment from popular Canadian YouTuber and lawyer who goes by Viva Frey. He wrote this under the episode regarding that letter.
Abonnez-vous.
I was very skeptical at first that Brigitte was a man, but I've got to tell you, Macron's lawyers are really starting to convince me. Legally speaking, it was an implausible...
Ah oui, genre les avocats de Macron commencent à le convaincre que c'est pas vrai, wesh.
Stupid move what they did, okay? While refusing to just plainly state that Brigitte Macron, the current First Lady of France, was indeed born a woman, they used all sorts of tricky language to suggest that they could sue me for defamation over minor errors that I made in my reporting. Okay, essentially, they were not addressing the substance of the claim. Brigitte Macron was born a biological male, but instead attacking...
Mais si Brigitte Macron est née en mâle, pourquoi elle assume pas? Autant assumer au lieu de faire un cirque médiatique. Il faut assumer si t'es né garçon. Pourquoi t'assumes pas? Tu veux cacher au public. Moi, c'est ça que je comprends pas. T'as fait des trucs, assume. Il vaut mieux assumer.
You said in an earlier report that a picture from Brigitte's communion was recolorized. This is false. Okay. This reporting has caused Brigitte to have mental anguish.
Parce que tu es connu. Tôt ou tard, ça va se montrer, ça va se voir. Donc... Autant assumer, c'est vrai qu'on a tous des secrets, mais vous allez voir, ça va loin cette histoire. Mais là, on n'est qu'à l'introduction.
Okay. But as I said, their lawyers made a critical mistake because In order to prove defamation, you have to prove that somebody acted in reckless disregard for the truth, that they knew the truth and they made a decision not to publicize it. Instead, they wanted to just publicize lies, which is something that if you guys watch this show, you know that I do not do. I do not engage in it. Quite the opposite. So by sending me a legal letter, they unintentionally provided me with a direct line, a direct link to ask Brigitte Macron and Emmanuel Macron pointed questions. They can't pretend they didn't see our questions, okay? The majority of the questions that we asked them were simply yes or no. Those were the answers that we needed, with the promise that we gave them that if she answered the questions,
Déjà qu'elle s'occupe de son sexe, déjà.
So I want
Et
to show
après de
you
son
some of
pays.
these very simple 21 questions
Déjà que
that
son
we
pays
asked.
va à la dérive, tu as parfaitement raison. Mais déjà qu'elle assume qu'elle est un garçon au départ, tu peux être un garçon au départ et changer en femme sous prétexte que tu étais complexé. Tu as le droit. Tu as le droit.
Brigitte Macron, so that we could use our platform to put an end to her mental anguish, okay? We asked, is the little girl pictured in the communion photograph, allegedly from 1963, the Brigitte Macron that is currently married to President Macron? Did Brigitte Macron ever use the name Véronique? Can you account for all of the children from the Amiens family photograph and their current whereabouts? Did Brigitte Macron physically give birth to 3 children? These are easy questions, guys. Is Brigitte Macron the same person pictured in the Auziere wedding photograph? Did Brigitte Macron ever have a relationship with Véronique Drew? Would you please provide photographs of Brigitte Macron in the 1970s?
Attends, elle a une relation avec une femme. Donc, si elle a une relation avec une femme, soit c'est une bille, soit à l'époque, c'était un homme.
Provide school photographs of Jean-Michel Trugno, a person they purport is her brother, and Brigitte Trugno, preferably together. When did Brigitte Macron first meet President Macron, and under what circumstances? What were their respective ages when they met? Did the Macrons have an intimate physical relationship before President Macron turned 18? And if so, at what age did the relationship begin? Have your clients attempted to correct the French version of Wikipedia, which states that regarding Brigitte Macron, quote, the age difference of more than 24 years between the two lovers causes a scandal in the Trogno family, especially since their relationship could fall under the scope of Article 22727 of the Penal Code, which establishes the offense of sexual assault on a minor. Have your clients initiated legal action against the International Pedophile and Child Emancipation Lobby, which cites Macron's relationship in its publication, Positive Memories, on a list of, quote, positive, loving relationships with children? Like I said, these are pretty simple questions. If you are a person and you are going through mental anguish because people are talking about you being born a biological male, wouldn't you race to answer those questions? Yeah. Well, apparently they simply were not anguished enough to they were anguished enough to hire and pay an American legal firm in DC to send us a 100-page lettered threat, but they simply were not anguished enough or could not muster the energy to answer 21 basic questions to put an end to the scandal. We received no response from them because we knew that we would not receive a response from them because, well, they're lying. They are, in fact, lying to the public about Brigitte Macron's past identity. And a court case would have given us the opportunity to prove it via subpoena power. America is not France. And the state of Tennessee sure as hell is in Paris. So let me tell you why this story matters worldwide, okay? Because this is not just something that impacts Europe. It has international implications. For example, the unprecedented raid on Donald Trump's...
Et en fait, tu vois dans les commentaires, parce que j'ai vu sur la vidéo, tu vois dans les commentaires, oui, franchement, la France, en anglais, hein, la France, ils ont vraiment des journalistes, vraiment, de coward. French people, they are the coward journalists. Genre des connards de journalistes, quoi.
At Mar-a-Lago over documents that he had taken from the White House. You guys remember that, right? Check out this headline that was in The Guardian. Trump boasted that he had intelligence on Macron's sex life. Inventory of what was seized at Mar-a-Lago caused a transatlantic freakout between Paris and Washington. I'm sorry, what? What could he have stumbled upon about Emmanuel Macron's sex life that would have caused a transatlantic panic? Here's a Rolling Stone headline to the same effect. It reads, Trump bragged that he had, quote-unquote, intelligence on Macron's sex life. The FBI seized a document with info on the French president during the Mar-a-Lago raid that has officials in both countries hunting for answers. Oh, okay. Why would you be stressed as a president? What were your tastes? And here's an excerpt from that Rolling Stone article, because this really is incredible. Most people don't remember this, okay? It reads, then, of course, the mere revelation of its existence triggered a transatlantic freakout, according to two other sources familiar with the situation and Trump's prior talk about the Macrons.
Donc déjà, Trump avait déjà des preuves contre Macron, déjà. C'est pour ça qu'il parlait un peu bizarre en disant que oui, Macron, je sais pas, je venais. Et puis, en fait, il y avait une histoire de douane entre Trump et Macron. Et puis, Monsieur Trump disait à Macron, écoutez, Monsieur Macron, je sais pas, vous êtes en train de taxer... je sais pas, il y avait une histoire de taxes de douane et tout ça en envoyant des bouteilles de vin via le Mexique aux États-Unis ou via les États-Unis au Mexique. Et Monsieur Macron disait, non, 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 Monsieur Trump, enlevez les taxes. Non, en fait, je veux pas taxer, je veux pas taxer. Ah, je vous le dis. Enfin, il y a une histoire comme ça, quoi.
Allegedly naughty ways that, quote, not very many people know, only intensified those concerns. Both French and U.S. officials worked to figure out precisely what Trump had on Macron and France's government, and if any of it was sensitive in nature, the sources said. The officials in both nations wanted to know if this discovery signified some kind of a national security breach, or if it amounted to a frivolous but stolen keepsake. Oh, okay, you wouldn't be freaking out unless there was something to be freaking out about and that Trump actually had some intelligence that could ruin things. Now I can remind you guys of the infamous Summer Olympics of 2024, just last year, where the entire world watched as drag queens carried the Olympic torch and performed the opening ceremony.
Oui, 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 oui. Au moment de la flamme olympique, c'était l'année dernière. C'était les JO, hein. C'est déroulé à Paris. Je sais pas, il y a des gens, voilà, elle le dit, des drag queens qui montaient sur la flamme olympique. Il y avait un mec, Philippe, je sais pas quoi, son prénom, j'ai oublié. Il était vraiment bien déguisé, on voyait ses couilles. Enfin, c'était du n'importe quoi.
In my view, explicitly lied in their legal letter to me when they said that it was not mimicking the Last Supper. They said it was not satanic. Okay, here it is. Here's a side-by-side, because as we unpack this series, you are going to see that do not believe your own eyes is a repeat Macron instruction, okay? There's a Last Supper on the left, Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper, and on the...
elle compare en fait le tableau de Léonard de Vinci avec le truc actuel. Vous voyez, ils font des trucs qui sont apparentés à des trucs d'avant. Et à côté, t'as tous des drag queens, petites reines, presque tous des hommes, quoi. C'est un truc de fou.
Right, there are the Paris Olympics. Okay, but even if you really didn't want to believe your own eyes, it would be reasonable to assume that we could at least believe the people who performed in the ceremony, right? The lead performer was a lesbian named Barbara Butch, and following the performance, here's what Barbara Butch posted on Instagram. She wrote, oh yes, the New Gay Testament with an LGBTQ flag and a fist bump. And she tagged some other people in her community. Yeah, that would register to most people as satanic, an inversion of the New Testament.
Comme j'aurais adoré avoir du monde sur ce live, quoi.
But after the backlash and after the producers of the Olympics had already confessed to Page 6 that it was supposed to be Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper, they attempted to backtrack and backpedal and officially claim that actually it was a pagan feast that they were mimicking. Okay. What escaped the public at large was the fact that...
Est-ce que le tableau de Léonard de Vinci ressemble à une fête païenne? C'est la question qu'on se pose.
Jolly, that was the artistic director of the performance, was hand-picked to put this ceremony on in the presence of none other than First Lady Brigitte Macron, who went to see him back in 2022 at the premiere of his musical Starmania, which he produced. Emmanuel Macron, according to The Spectator at least, then personally ordered Jolly to outdo the London Olympics. So I want you guys to make no mistake, both he and his quote-unquote wife were both intimately involved with the ceremony. As we unpack the story of Brigitte and Emmanuel, you are going to notice some strange recurring themes. That scandals related to pedophilia and transgenderism, incest, and sexual perversion just keep accidentally
falling. Stromae became a woman with black eyes. I don't know, because today is not the subject of Stromae. It is the subject of the woman of the president of the France. Brigitte Macron. It's not a Stromae today. I don't know it's right and it's wrong. What do you mean? Toby.
Where they go. Parking aside the fact that even if you believed that Brigitte Macron was a woman, and I'm telling you she isn't, and you won't believe that by the time that we're done with this series, you would have to accept that her love story with Emmanuel Macron is completely unpalatable, okay? It begins when she was a 39-year-old drama teacher at La Providence School.
Because I know Stromae is a man, is not a woman. Stromae was born a man. After he will grown up a man, probably.
She saw a 14-year-old boy, Emmanuel Macron, perform in a play, and that was it. That just completely swept her off her feet. Okay, apparently a love story for the ages. By the way, that was one of many first red flags for me. A 14-year-old boy and a 39-year-old woman. I'm sorry, this is not a thing. Okay? I'm 35. Do you know what a 14-year-old boy looks like? Boys don't even complete puberty until they're about 16.
Imaginez-vous, moi, je suis avec un mec de 4... Non, lol.
Old. They look... There's nothing manly, nothing attractive. They look like children. That's what they look like. They look like children. Boys mature at a slower pace than girls mature. Even when you hear the stories of a woman, Toby? They call her a cougar. They don't go after 14-year-old boys. They like a young Brad Pitt from Troy looking guy in his early 20s, okay? Not a 14-year-old boy.
What do you mean, Stromae? Stromae, it is a black guy. It's a black guy. I don't remember the color of his eyes. Maybe, possibly, I don't know.
That registered to me as remarkably strange. I don't know, truly, I can't even think of a cultural example of a woman who was in her mid-30s, about to turn 40, that found a 14-year-old
Elle va savoir, ils ont peut-être couché avant.
If you guys can help me find one, okay? So once the couple moved into Élysée Palace, that's the French White House, weird scandals began to follow them. For example, for whatever reason, it became known to the public that Brigitte Macron, who fancies herself something of a designer, wanted to install an erect penis with golden balls to become the new spire for the Notre Dame Cathedral. Yes, you heard me correct. Here is a headline in the Daily Mail to back that up. Brigitte Macron backed an erect phallus with golden balls as the new spire for the Notre Dame Cathedral. France's former culture minister claims this is not a conspiracy. The former minister of